For most inmates at ADX Florence, life ends not with violence, but with silence. No shouting, no contact, no sound beyond the hum of fluorescent lights and the echo of your own thoughts. In the world's most secure prison, punishment isn't physical, it's psychological. This is what daily life looks like inside America's most extreme prison. Life behind the walls, ADX. Florence isn't just a prison. It's an experiment in total isolation. Built in 1994, it was designed to hold men who had attacked guards, murdered other inmates, or orchestrated crimes from behind bars. Here, punishment isn't just about serving time. It's about erasing control, stripping inmates of every sense of power they ever had. Each prisoner lives alone in a 7 by 12-foot concrete cell. The bed, desk and stool are part of the walls. The window is 4 inches wide and angled so tightly that you can only see the sky. Never the mountains. Never another human being. The day starts at 4:00 a.m. when the cell lights automatically flicker on. Breakfast, usually oatmeal, milk and a small piece of fruit, slides through a slot in the solid steel door. Guards call it the bean chute. It's the only opening between the inmate and the world outside his cell. There are no communal meals, no recreation yards, no group therapy sessions. Even exercise happens alone, in a slightly larger cage made of concrete and wire, known as the dog run. The walls are so high, inmates can't even see each other while outside. Some men go weeks or months without hearing another person's voice. Prisoners communicate by shouting through toilets, tapping on walls, or writing microscopic notes they flush down the pipes. Those who get caught face disciplinary action, losing what little privilege they have, 1 phone call per month or an hour of television time. The routine of control. Every detail of life at ADX is dear, signed to maintain absolute order. Inmates are escorted everywhere in full restraints, hands cuffed, waist chained, ankles shackled. Guards communicate through intercoms, and even the doors are opened remotely from control stations. There are 5 security levels within the prison, general population units, already stricter than any regular prison. Special security units, H unit, for the most violent or high-risk inmates. Control units, for those on permanent lockdown. Range 13, the most restricted area, reserved for national security prisoners and terrorists. Step-down program, the only way out of total isolation, earned through years of perfect behavior. Even the guards undergo psychological screening before working here. Many admit that the environment wears on them. Constant silence, the tension of knowing the men they watch are some of the most dangerous alive. A former warden once said, "It's not a prison, it's a clean version of hell. Everything works perfectly, but nothing feels human." The psychological toll. Isolation. This extreme changes people. According to reports from psychologists and former inmates, long-term confinement at ADX can cause panic attacks, paranoia, hallucinations, and suicidal thoughts. Prisoners describe hearing whispers that aren't there, seeing movement in the shadows of their cells. Some begin talking to insects just to have something alive near them. In 2012, a lawsuit filed by inmates claimed that dozens of men with mental illnesses were kept in solitary conditions that made their symptoms worse. After years of legal pressure, the Bureau of Prisons agreed to transfer some mentally ill inmates to treatment facilities, but experts say the damage was already done. One inmate wrote in a letter to the New York Times, "I've forgotten how to talk. My voice sounds strange when I hear it. I dream in silence now. Time means nothing. Days at ADX. Florence all look the same. Endless repetition. Meals arrive at the same time. Lights switch on and off at the same time. Guards perform head counts at the same time. There's no work, no education, no human contact. Just time. Inmates track the passing days by counting the bolts on their walls or memorizing the patterns in the concrete. Some draw murals using toothpaste. Others write entire books on prison-issue paper. One former inmate said, you start to realize that punishment here isn't what they do to you, it's what they stop you from becoming. The purpose of the machine. To the Bureau of Prisons, ADX, Florence is a necessary evil, a place for those who can't be controlled anywhere else. It's home to bombers, gang leaders, and spies. Men like Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, Ramzi Yousef, the 1993 World Trade Center bomber, and Dzhokhar Tsarnaev, the Boston Marathon bomber. To critics, it's a monument to psychological torture, a place that breaks men's minds long before their sentences end. Either way, ADX Florence remains unmatched in its ability to contain and silence the world's most dangerous criminals. Because here, punishment doesn't end when the cell door closes. It begins. The men America fears most. Inside the concrete maze of ADX Florence, there are no cellmates, no friendships, no noise, just men whose names define terror, violence, and control. Each one lives in a world reduced to 7 steps between a steel bed and a concrete wall. The prison is divided by security levels, but its most infamous residents are housed in the Special Security Unit, known as H Unit, or simply the Alcatraz of the Rockies. Here, guards operate on strict routines. Doors are opened remotely. No one ever sees 2 prisoners in the same hallway. Let's step inside their world. The Unabomber, Ted Kaczynski. For years, Ted Kaczynski lived in silence, not in a cell, but in a remote Montana cabin. Between 1978 and 1995, he mailed bombs that killed 3 people and injured 23 others, targeting scientists and airlines in a crusade against modern technology. After his arrest, Kaczynski was sentenced to life without parole and sent to ADX Florence. Inside, he became known as the Professor. He spent his days reading philosophy, writing letters, and analyzing media coverage. Despite his intellect, his isolation was absolute. He reportedly communicated with other inmates only through letters passed by lawyers, an invisible conversation among America's most dangerous men. Even in death, Kaczynski took his own life in 2023. He remains a symbol of the quiet, analytical madness that ADX was built to contain. Ramzi Yousef, the 1993 World Trade Center bomber. Just 1 cell away from Kaczynski, once sat Ramzi Yousef, the mastermind behind the first World Trade Center bombing in 1993. His goal was to topple the North Tower and kill tens of thousands. But the bomb detonated in the parking garage, killing 6 and injuring more than 1,000. Inside ADX, Yousef is confined to his cell 23 hours a day. According to reports, he spends his time pacing, praying, and refusing to interact with guards. In court, he once declared that he had no remorse. His punishment: complete silence. He can't see another inmate, and his only view is a patch of sky through his narrow window. It's said that he once tried to communicate through the plumbing system, only to be cut off after guards discovered it. Robert Hanssen, the spy who sold America. Then there's Robert Hanssen, the former FBI agent who betrayed his country for money and pride. Over 2 decades, Hanssen sold U.S. secrets to the Soviet Union, exposing undercover operatives and compromising national defense systems. His betrayal is considered one of the most damaging in American history. At ADX, Hanssen lives in the same conditions as the terrorists and killers he once investigated. He's forbidden from contact with other inmates, forbidden from using a phone, and forbidden from writing letters that could reach the outside world. A former warden once described Hanssen's life like this: he sits in a concrete box for 23 hours a day with nothing but his thoughts. And that's his sentence. He died in 2023, still under the weight of total isolation. Cartel leaders and domestic terrorists. ADX. Florence also houses some of the most dangerous drug lords and domestic terrorists in modern history. Among them was Joaquin El Chapo Guzmán, the infamous Mexican cartel leader. After escaping 2 maximum security prisons in Mexico, Guzmán was extradited to the US in 2017 and sent straight to ADX. His cell is under constant surveillance, his mail filtered, his phone calls monitored. Even his lawyers meet him through glass. Unlike other inmates, El Chapo's cell is equipped with motion sensors, and he's banned from outdoor contact with anyone. His isolation is total, the end of a man once used to commanding thousands with a word. Former ADX guards describe his unit as a prison inside the prison. Another inmate, Eric Rudolph, the 1996 Atlanta Olympic Park bomber, reportedly spends his days writing essays and gardening in the small recreation area attached to his cell. Alone, of course. Even among killers, ADX breeds silence. The invisible society. Despite the isolation, inmates find ways to coexist, not physically, but psychologically. They develop routines, reading, exercising, memorizing every inch of concrete. Some claim to feel comfort in the sameness. Others fall into despair. Letters leaked from ADX describe inmates knocking on walls just to prove someone else exists. One guard said, "They're all separated, but they live in the same rhythm, the same hum, the same clock, the same silence." Even though ADX was built to separate them, you say men share a strange invisible bond, the understanding that they are part of a world most humans will never see. The cell of legends. Each of these men represents a chapter in America's darkest history. Their names shaped headlines, their crimes reshaped policy, and now their lives unfold in total obscurity. ADX doesn't rehabilitate, it doesn't forgive, it simply contains. Every door, every meal slot, every footstep on concrete is a reminder that some men are too dangerous to walk free and too notorious to be forgotten. The legends of crime and terror now live behind the world's strongest walls, speaking to no one, waiting for time to forget them. For decades, ADX Florence has been called the clean version of hell, a place built to contain the worst of humanity. But inside those walls live the stories of men who changed the course of history through violence, greed and fear. Some still dream of escape. Others dream of silence. Yet, no one truly leaves Florence, because even when the door closes for the last time, the legend of what happened inside continues to echo far beyond its walls.